If the temperature outside your window dropped 40 degrees below zero tonight, you would not last a week. Your ancestors lasted for over 100,000 years. Not because they were stronger than you, because they were willing to do things you would never imagine. This is the real story of how ancient humans survived the Ice Age. And by the end, you will understand why your own body still remembers it. 20,000 years ago, the world was not cold. It was hostile. Glaciers swallowed entire continents. Forests vanished under permanent snow. And the first thing that disappeared was food. So early, humans became obsessed with something you would never think twice about: animal fat. Your body burns enormous energy just staying warm, and fat was the only fuel dense enough to keep it running. Researcher Sylvia Bello and her team studied bones from Gough's Cave in Britain and found something disturbing. Some of those bones were smashed open the exact same way animal bones were, and some of them were human. This was not random violence. Many scientists believe it was funerary cannibalism, consuming the dead rather than killing the living. 6 months of darkness, a dying fire, children crying from hunger. Then, someone in your group dies. What do you do next? That question defines the darkest chapter of ancient survival. But it was not the only one. Some groups reportedly used freshly killed mammoth carcasses as emergency shelters during blizzards, climbing inside a dead animal's body heat to survive a single night. It sounds impossible, but the Ice Age did not care about dignity, only survival. And this is where prehistoric humans surprise you. They were not primitive. Archaeologists have found bone needles, layered fur clothing, and grease rubbed onto skin to slow heat loss, evidence of specialists engineering survival in conditions that would kill you within days. But even clothing could not protect them from predators. Cave lions bigger than today's lions. Hyenas that crushed bone in a single bite. Packs of dire wolves hunting across frozen plains. Humans were not the top of the food chain. Humans were prey. Which is exactly why fire mattered more than food. Groups carried burning embers with them wherever they traveled, because a fire that went out in winter meant a family that did not survive it. And when resources ran out entirely, some tribes turned on each other. Evidence across Europe shows crushed skulls and embedded spear points, some of the earliest known warfare in human history, fought not for land, but for survival itself. This darkness may even explain one of history's biggest mysteries: why the Neanderthals disappeared while modern humans did not. For years, the assumption was simple: smarter humans replaced weaker ones. But the evidence tells a more complicated story. A Neanderthal skeleton known as Shanidar 1 lived with a crushed arm and severe injuries for roughly a decade. Someone fed him. Someone protected him. Researcher Penny Spickens has documented dozens of similar cases, proof that Neanderthals cared deeply for their injured. So if they were capable of that kind of compassion, what actually wiped them out? One answer may be connection. A 2026 study published in Science Advances found stone tools carried nearly 500 miles across Ice Age Europe. Proof that separate human groups were trading, communicating, sharing knowledge across huge distances. Isolated tribes vanished. Connected ones adapted. And that difference may be the real reason your species is still here. Survival was not only physical either. Imagine half a year of darkness with no certainty spring would ever come. So humans invented something to hold on to: stories. Passed around firelight, stories warned children about frozen lakes, explained which roots were safe to eat, and taught the habits of predators. Knowledge that could outlive memory itself, carried from one generation into the next. And here's the part that should unsettle you a little: your fear of the dark, your calm around a campfire, your anxiety when you feel isolated. These are not random. Your nervous system still responds to firelight and darkness the exact same way it did 20,000 years ago. Because for most of human history, that reaction was the difference between living and freezing. Your body remembers the Ice Age even when your mind has forgotten it completely. So if you were dropped into that world tonight, 40 degrees below zero, starving, alone in the dark, you already know the truth. You would do exactly what they did. Every single one of it.